Ellen, have you finished packing up your things yet? I don't want to rush you, but time is of the essence. It doesn't seem like you've been making any progress at all. I'm getting worried you won't be finished in time.
Huh? Packing up my things? What are you talking about? Are we going on vacation or something? I don't remember talking about that.
Oh, you can't be serious. May's moving back in so I can help take care of her after the baby is born. So obviously you're going to have to move out. I thought we were on the same page.
Wait, what? May's moving back in? This is the first I've ever heard of this. You never said anything to me.
Oh, come now, dear. There's no way you weren't aware. I told my son to tell you about it myself, so I don't want to hear any of your excuses. Unless, are you telling me that Nate didn't talk to you?
No, Mom. He hasn't said a single thing to me. I told you, this is the first I'm hearing of this. So please tell me what's going on. I did hear that May was pregnant. I knew that much. But now you're telling me she's moving in?
I don't believe it. You mean you really didn't know? Oh, Nate told me that he talked to you about it and you were fine with it. He told me he would handle everything, so I thought everything was in order.
How could I possibly be fine with something I knew nothing about? How long has this been in the works? When did this conversation happen?
Well, let me think. The first time May mentioned she wanted to move back in was, I believe, around a month ago or so. She said the doctor told her she was at a heightened risk for premature labor. So she wanted to move in here so that I could help her relax up until the birth. Her husband is always quite busy with work, and his parents live quite a ways away. So when I talked to Nate about it, he said he would talk to you. And it wasn't but a few hours after that he told me you two had a conversation and that you said you were fine with it. Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I had no idea you weren't aware. I feel terrible now.
She gave you 1 month's notice for wanting to move in with us? Jeez. This is not the kind of thing you can just drop on somebody with only a month's notice. Isn't there anywhere else she could go but here?
I understand that she tried, but there was nowhere else that she could stay. Believe me, this is all very sudden for me as well.
Well, yeah, I suppose it's going to be quite an imposition on you, too. But wait, you're telling me that we're the ones who need to be packing up our things? Do you mean she's going to be staying on our side of the duplex? Why wouldn't she be staying in yours? There would be more empty space over there.
Well, no, she'll be spending most of the time over here with me. But she says that she wants you and Nate to move out of your unit while she's here.
What?
Oh, just until the baby's born and she recovers from the birth. She said it would be for the best if you two could rent an apartment or a condo somewhere for a while. Not forever, again, just until things settle down.
Are you being serious right now? What in the world? She really said that? Why on earth would we have to move out of our own house?
I'd say May would feel bad about imposing on you if you were around the house. She wouldn't want you to feel like you had to wait on her. And having an energetic 2-year-old around a new mother could be, well, somewhat stressful. Stress isn't good for a pregnant woman, you know. It's hard on the baby as well.
That's her reason? That's why she wants us to move out of our own house? What, does she think it'll be easy on us to have to make a sudden move like this with a 2-year-old? That's insane. And what does she mean until things settle down? That's an incredibly vague period of time. Are we talking a few months, a year, or even more? Who's going to take care of the house in that time? Who's going to pay for utilities, the mortgage? Not to mention she's kicking us out of our own home, so who's going to pay for our moving expenses?
Well, as for the housework, I talked to Nate about that. He said you would be able to stop by a few times a week and take care of everything. He also told me that you would be willing to drive May to the hospital and back for her pre- and postnatal checkups.
Are you kidding me?
And for financial matters, he said it would be a sort of early baby shower gift for her. He said that the two of you would cover all the expenses, both for yourselves and May. I'm sorry, dear, but Nate told me that you had discussed all of this and that you were just as enthusiastic about it as he was.
I'm going to have a little talk with him later on, but for the time being, let me just tell you this much. May is not going to be able to move into our house. We have a 2-year-old child. We can't just move on a whim like this, and I can't be taking care of the housework for 2 households. It's simply delusional to think a scheme like that would ever work out in reality. Not to mention, I have a job to do myself. I'm sorry, but this just isn't going to work. You'll have to tell May that she needs to find another arrangement.
What? I can't tell her no, not at this point in time. She's going to move in this weekend.
This weekend? That's only 5 days from now.
Well, yes, I know. That's why I asked you if you had made the necessary preparations for the move a little bit ago. Helen, I'm sure you can find some way to make this work, can't you? After all, we've already told May that she can come. She's made her own preparations too. We can't just make her up and change plans at this point.
I'm sure it'll be difficult for her, but I'm just looking at reality here. This is just not going to work. It can't happen. Anyway, like I said, I was not in the loop for any of this information. I'm going to have a talk with Nate now. He has a lot of explaining to do. Nate, we need to have a talk now. I just heard from your mom that May is going to be moving into our house this weekend. Would you mind telling me more? And by more, I mean anything? Seeing as how you never told me about this in the first place.
Oops. Sorry, babe. I guess I forgot to run that by you.
You forgot. You forgot? You forgot that she's moving into our house in just 5 days? You forgot about this little minor detail for an entire month? You forgot that we have to find a new place to live for the entire time she's living here? You forgot that you promised my services as a housekeeper and chauffeur to her for that entire time? You forgot to tell me all about that?
Look, I said I was sorry, but I've been meaning to talk to you about it, I really have. But I just felt like if I asked you about it, that you'd say no for sure.
Of course I would say no to that nonsense. What was your plan here? What were you going to do if your mom just didn't drop that bomb on me a little while ago? Were you just going to have May show up at the door and be like, "Oh, by the way..."
Come on, don't treat me like I'm a total idiot. I obviously made preparations for us to leave the house. I was going to talk to you within the next few days, maybe even today or tomorrow. I just forgot, that's all. What, have you never forgotten anything?
Don't pretend like being ready or not is the issue. The issue is that you went and made all of these insane promises behind my back. Why does May have no other choice than to move into our house to take care of the baby? Why can't she go anywhere else? This is our house. She has her own house.
Well, that's because Mum's going to be helping her out while she recovers from the birth. Since Mum lives in the other part of our duplex, that means May has to come here, obviously. Mum sold her old house when she moved in with us, so she can't go there.
I am aware of the fact that your mom sold her old house and moved in with us when your dad died. I get it. She's getting up there in years and she's insecure living completely on her own. I get that. She's not in bad enough health to require round-the-clock care like in a nursing home, so it makes sense for her to live close to us like this. I understand that and agreed to it when we moved into this duplex. But once again, Nate, that's not the issue here. The issue is May moving in here. Please, for the love of God, will you explain to me why she has to move in here?
What do you want, Helen? Do you want May to have to deal with giving birth and taking care of her baby all by herself? Oh, don't forget you stayed with your parents when you gave birth. You think you deserve that, but May doesn't? You think you're special or something? Try putting yourself in her shoes.
First of all, you are comparing apples to oranges. The circumstances are completely different. But let's just say for a moment that I was in the same position May is in now. If my parents had sold their house and moved in with my brother and his wife, then unless there was some sort of insanely unlikely extenuating circumstance, I would simply take care of myself and have my husband do whatever I needed in order to make things work. But apparently May hasn't even thought about that possibility. And then her reasoning, are you kidding me? She thinks having other people in the house would be stressful for her? Why do we have to allow ourselves to get kicked out of our own house? Why do I have to give up my lifestyle to cater to May's selfish whims? Don't even get me started on having to do the housework and take her to her checkups. Doesn't all of that seem just a little bit, I don't know, ridiculous to you, Nate?
Hey, don't talk about May like she's some kind of squatter swooping in and stealing our house. She has a lot on her mind right now. The doctor even told her she's at risk of going into labour prematurely. All she wants is to be close to Mum so Mum can take care of her. You're a mother yourself, Helen. You understand exactly how hard on a woman's body childbirth is. So come on, you can help her out with the housework, can't you? That won't be too much of a burden. And hey, you can think of this as a good chance for you and May to finally develop a positive relationship. What do you say, Helen? Think you can make a teensy little sacrifice for me?
A chance to become besties with May? A teensy little sacrifice?
Well, yeah. I mean, you've never even spoken to each other. After that big blow-up you two had all the way back when, right? That puts me in a really difficult position, Helen. I'm torn between my sister and my wife. Maybe the two of you can bond over mummy stuff. You know, like changing nappies and other mummy stuff.
What is the matter with you? I cannot believe what I'm reading right now. You call what happened a blow-up? Do you remember what that woman did to me? You introduced me to your family for the first time, and she immediately started insulting me in every possible way she could think of. She threw hot coffee on me, kicked me under the table, and pushed me out the door when I left. And then, after we sent out the wedding invites, you remember that, right? She started calling all the invitees and lied to them that the date had been changed. Then she came to the wedding plastered drunk and tried to throw a bottle of wine at me. After we got married, she used the key we left with your parents to break into our house and steal our stuff. Don't tell me you forgot the time she almost got away with selling my mother's heirloom diamond necklace to a pawn shop. If your dad hadn't driven by just in time to put a stop to the deal, I would have lost it forever. Oh, and then there's the time she tried to dump me in the middle of nowhere while I was pregnant with our son. Wasn't that an adorable little prank? She told me that your mom had been in an accident and we needed to rush to the scene and help her, then tried to kick me out of the car on the side of the highway. If that cop hadn't seen the scene and asked what was going on, we might have lost our son, Nate. But it didn't stop there. Remember when she came to the hospital after the birth? Remember the things she said to our son? "Wow, you look just like your mother. Ugly as hell, you poor thing." Those were her words, right? After that, I'd had enough of her. I told her exactly how I felt and that I didn't want to see her ever again. And you call that a blow-up? It was a long, continuous stream of unilateral verbal and physical abuse. I seem to remember you being pretty angry back then. Did you forget about that too?
No, I definitely remember that. No, I told her that she's been totally out of line, because she was being out of line. She was going through a really difficult time back then, though. I mean, you're a woman too. You know, women have their phases, right? Look at her now. She's married and she's having a baby. She's a totally different person. She's really turned her life around. I bet she feels really bad for everything she did back then.
If she really felt bad, I think a better way to show it would be to come and tell me that she was sorry to my face. Rather than, kicking me out of my own house and demanding I be her maid. So no, Nate, I don't think she's changed at all. Not in the slightest.
Oh, come on, Helen. She's my sister.
Sister or not, I'm putting my foot down. She is not moving in here. I never want to see her again for as long as I live. Call her up right now and tell her the plan has changed and she's not moving in.
Helen, you know I can't do that. Not this late in the game. She's been operating under the assumption that you'd be taking care of her for a month now. I can't cancel on her at the last minute.
Nate, this is all your fault. Take responsibility. You volunteered my services without even asking me. That's the worst part of this, for me. I don't care how hard it might be to cancel on her. Do it. Do it right now.
Helen, please, don't be so cold to my sister. She's family, and family has to take care of each other. May's already gotten everything ready to move here this weekend. I already signed a lease for a nice little apartment that's not too far away from here.
Oh my God, you did?
Of course I did. Need to move in 5 days. It's only going to be a year and some change. How bad could it be? If you want, I'll make May apologise to you for all that stuff she did. Okay, we're going to be together for a while, so let's try to get along. I'll give you the address for our apartment in a bit. Can you arrange for our stuff to be delivered there? There's not much time left, so do it right away. Okay? Gotta get back to work. Talk to you later. Thanks, Helen.
Hey there, ugly bitch. Long time no see. My stuff's gonna get there today, so make sure you get it all organized. Oh, and make sure the house is clean. Like, super clean. You're a sloppy homemaker, and I don't want to get any weird infection from you. So, disinfect everything in the house. Got it? Hello there, May. I see you haven't changed one bit over the last few years. Nate's the one who'll be cleaning your room, not me. So if you have any special requests, tell him. What? Oh my God, I feel so sorry for my brother. He's stuck with a lazy loser like you for a wife. Why didn't he divorce you? Like, seriously. I mean, here I am, your husband's own sister, coming over to your house, and this is the way you're gonna talk to me? Forget divorce. If I were Nate, I'd hire a hitman.
Yep, you haven't changed a bit.
Ugh, that sour attitude of yours is exactly why I didn't want that little brat around me. Any kid raised by you is 100% gonna be a total monster. Just the sight of you would raise my stress levels higher than I could stand. Make sure there aren't any family pictures up or anything. Oh, and I told Mom and Nate to make this clear to you, but just in case, you need to wear a mask when you come here to clean. I don't care about the flu or anything, I just don't want to see your face. Get in, get the chores done, and get the hell out. Oh, and that rule also applies for when you're taking me to the doctor. I don't want anyone to know I'm associating with someone as ugly as you.
As you wish. I'm leaving just like you wanted. My sons and my things have already been taken out of the house. You can make yourself at home.
That's a good, obedient girl. Looks like you finally understand where you rank around here. God, how pathetic can you get? No matter what I do or say to you, Mom and Nate may put up a facade of outrage, but at the end, they're both on my side. I win, you lose. I get everything, you get nothing. I get this sweet house, you get some cramped apartment. Oh, and I bet Mom and Nate told you it was gonna just be for a year or so, right? Yeah, about that. I think I might stick around a little longer, like, I don't know, forever. After all, it's my mom's house, and that means it's my house. Anyway, enjoy life in your crappy little apartment. I can't wait to stretch out my legs and relax on that big sofa you bought. This is what you get for not divorcing my brother when you had the chance, you dumb bitch.
Oh yeah, you got me. You got me real good. Is that all you wanted to say to me? I'm actually pretty busy with moving over here, so if you're done, I'll be getting back to work now. Bye, May.
Aw, look at you, trying to put on a brave face and pretend like I haven't completely destroyed you. You're not fooling anyone.
Helen, where are you? Answer your phone already. What are you doing right now? You need to call me as soon as you see this.
What do you want? I don't want to hear your voice right now. If you need something, just text me.
Helen, why are you talking to me like that? But more importantly, where are you? The door's locked and my key doesn't work. You need to get over here fast.
Sorry, no can do. I'm at my parents' house with our son. I'm going to be staying over here for the foreseeable future. Probably at least a year or so.
What? Wait, what?
My dad hurt his back the other day, you see. He's going to need help around the house and also with getting to and from the hospital for his checkups. He's too heavy for my mom to pick him up by herself, so she needs me here to look after him with her. So I'll just keep going to work like normal while staying here overnight.
What's wrong with you, Helen? How can you do that without saying anything to me first?
You know, Nate, I meant to tell you. Really, I did. But I forgot. I mean, I just knew that if I asked you about it, you'd say no, so I never got around to it. Oops.
What? Are you mocking me? Oh, that's beside the point right now. Why isn't my key working?
What, did you think I was going to leave home without locking the door behind me? I have to be a responsible homeowner, Nate. This is kindergarten level stuff. Oh, and about the locks, in a total coincidence, they broke yesterday. I had them replaced. I was going to tell you about that too, but I forgot again. Oops, sorry.
Helen, this is not funny. What's the matter with you? You can't just make these major decisions by yourself like that without asking me first. May is here, ready to move in, but we can't open the door. She was ready to finally get some well-deserved rest and relaxation, but now we have to go back in the car and drive over to the apartment. Why are you doing this, Helen? Explain yourself right now.
What are you complaining about? All I did was follow your family rules.
My family's rules? What?
Yes, your rules. You've made it very clear what your family's rules are over the last several years. According to your family's rules, when one spouse wants to do something that the other spouse will likely object to, you just do it without asking them. Especially if it's for family. Family has to look out for each other, right? And once one spouse makes a decision, the other spouse has to go along with it.
And that's exactly what I just did. I followed your rules to a T. My dad hurt his back and needed help. So I dropped everything and went to help him. I have to help my dear father.
I don't believe this. Really, Helen? Is this all some sort of childish revenge thing for you?
Revenge? Don't be silly. I was just following your rules. Or are you saying you realize what you did was wrong?
What? No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Uh-huh. You decided that your sister would move in with us. You decided that we would move out of our own house. You decided that I would be the one who had to take care of your sister. And when you finally talked to me about it and I said no, you ignored me. You signed a lease for an apartment. You started getting ready to move. You did all of this on your own accord because your sister needed help. And since you still don't seem to think you did anything wrong, that must mean those are your family's rules, right? So I followed your rules. I moved in with my parents to help them out while my dad recovers.
Oh, come on. You're being way too hyperbolic about everything. After all, it might have been a little late, sure, but I did talk to you about everything, right?
A little late is doing a lot of work in that sentence. But in any case, while you may have talked to me 5 days before she came, I never once agreed. And as for me, I told May that I would leave. However, I didn't say one single solitary thing to her about taking care of her. I have no obligation to do something that I never agreed to. But honestly, I'd say this is actually for everyone's benefit. May said that just seeing my face sent her stress levels skyrocketing, and I feel the same exact way about May.
Well, why didn't you tell me you felt so strongly about May? If you would have talked to me, we could have found a way to work things out.
I did tell you. Scroll up, Nate. Look at the conversation we had 5 days ago. I told you in detail all about the worst things that she's done to me. I told you, in no unclear terms, that I never wanted to see her again for as long as I live. And what did you have to say in reply? That you think she's turned her life around? Guess what? She texted me 2 days ago, and do you know what words she greeted me with after 2 years of turning her life around? Hey there, ugly bitch. I took a screenshot and sent it to you. You saw it, right?
Yeah, I did. But come on, Helen, give me a break. Can't you give this a chance? Why don't you come by the apartment and we can all talk things out like adults?
Your refusal to talk things out like adults is exactly what got us into this mess. I have been trying for days now to talk things out like adults. But every day this week, you've either had overtime or drinks with your colleagues or some other dumb excuse. And your mom went on a conveniently timed 5-day vacation with her friends. Neither of you have been home for the last 5 days.
Those weren't excuses. I really was busy.
Oh, I have no doubt you were making yourself busy looking for excuses to avoid me. You've had 1 whole month to talk to me since this whole story began. I know what you were thinking, Nate. You were thinking it was only a matter of time. You expected that if you could avoid me for long enough that I'd just agree to everything. And if I said no, you didn't care. All your talk about compromise and little sacrifices, all of that was just a facade. You were just buying time for me to completely give in to you. Seriously, what kind of a pathetic weakling do you think I am? I am sick and tired of you, your sister, your mom. I'm sick of everything. May's had 2 years to grow up, but in all honesty, I think she's become even more of a psycho than she was before.
What do you want from me, Helen? I told you I was sorry for not talking to you. Now stop acting like I'm some kind of passive-aggressive, patronising husband. I'm not. That was not my intent at all. Maybe you have a bit of a point. Maybe I was taking advantage of your kindness, sure. But it was never my intent to hurt you, insult you, impose upon you, or anything like that. So, no, I'm sorry for that, for trying to take advantage of you. But seriously? Locking us out of the house? That's taking things way too far. It's not just your house, Helen. It's our house. You, me, and Mum.
I suppose you're right. It isn't just my house. Originally, my grandparents lived in that duplex along with my uncle and aunt. And right now, it's actually still in my mom's name. We were always just borrowing it from her anyway.
Wait.
What's the matter? Did you forget that too? Boy, you sure have a convenient memory, don't you? Back when your mom wanted to move in with us, I was the one who asked my mom for permission. But then you went and invited your sister to come and live there without even asking me for permission. Do you have any idea how angry my parents are right now at both you and your sister? Oh, and that reminds me, I have a message from them for you, your mom, and your sister. We won't sit idly by and let you take advantage of us. Your sister's got her own house, she can live there, and you can live with her. That sounds like a great idea to me. You can all live with May and her husband, and you can do all their housework.
Helen, let's be reasonable now. We're husband and wife. We can't live in separate houses. Are you really going to live over there for a whole year, please? Helen, come home.
I was actually thinking about staying here longer than just a year. A lot longer. Maybe even forever.
No, you can't be serious. You're not going to divorce me, are you?
I've been thinking about it.
I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. I'll tell May she can't stay with us. And I'll make her apologise for everything she's ever done to you. But I'm begging you, please don't divorce me.
Let me ask you a question, Nate. Do you know precisely what I'm angry about right now? If at this point you still don't know what the real issue is, then there's just no hope for you. You say you're going to make May apologize? Great, but this doesn't end there. You're just as guilty as she is. You know that, right?
Yeah, sure I do. I'm very, very aware of how precisely I've hurt you, Helen. And for that precise reason, I'm very, very sorry. I can't express enough how sorry I am for that. So, you gonna come home now?
Nope. It's been so long since my parents have seen their grandson, they look like they're 20 years younger, they're so happy. They went to a lot of effort to get ready for me to stay with them. I couldn't tell them I'm leaving already, it would break their poor hearts. So no, I intend to stay here for 1 year just like I promised. And during that year, I'll decide whether I'm going to divorce you or not. Got that?
Yeah, I got it. Look, I'm really, really sorry for what I did, Helen. I truly regret doing the precise thing that you're angry about right now. I can't believe I was stupid enough to do a thing like that. I hope you can find it in your generous heart to forgive me for...
Well, if you're really sorry about that, then that's good. You'll have another year to think about exactly how sorry you are for that.
That.
And one more thing. I'm going to have to teach May a lesson that will teach her not to cross me ever again. You might get caught in the crossfire, just a heads up.
Okay.
Good morning, May. Did your husband stop by to see you? Look, you can hole yourself up in the apartment bathroom all you want, but you're gonna have to come out eventually. This is all your fault, you bitch! Why did you have to go and call my husband? And why the hell do you even know my husband's phone number? You're such an obnoxious old hag. Let's just say that I have a very thorough network of contacts. Friends of friends, you know? I won't tell you how exactly I got the information, but wow, you never cease to amaze me, May. Really, I'm astonished. Imagine my shock when I learned that your husband, drumroll please, has been out of the country for a year on business. It's an immaculate conception. Or is that just the overwhelming power of your husband's masculinity? He impregnated you from across the world? And if you think I was shocked, you should have heard your husband's reaction. I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! It was only a matter of time before he found out you were the talk of the town. After all, you're a married woman, and yet there was a constant string of young men coming and going from your house in the middle of the night. I understand you told your neighbors that you conceived while your husband made a quick trip back home, but, you know, I really don't think they bought it, May. No, I think they all knew what was really going on. Your husband is set to come back home next month, right? Is that why you were so desperate to move in with us? To keep your husband from finding out for as long as possible? Well, unfortunately for you, after my conversation with him, he decided to cut his trip a wee bit short. Oops, sorry about that, May. I hate you, you evil bitch! I'm gonna tell Nate and my mom what you did to me. He's gonna divorce your ass instantly. You're gonna regret this. I'll show you what happens when you piss me off, you ugly old geezer. Oh, well, if that's what you need to do, by all means, go ahead. Getting a divorce wouldn't be a problem for me in the slightest, seeing as I make about twice as much as Nate and I'm the family's primary breadwinner. Didn't you know? My dad's a real estate developer and he handed off a few properties to me so I could learn the ropes. Then once he passes away, I'll inherit the rest of his business. So Nate's the one desperate to avoid a divorce, not me. What? Oh, and speaking of money, there's something I need you to do for me. Give your mom a message from me as soon as you can. Tell her that even in the unlikely event Nate and I end up staying together, she is never, under any circumstances, going to come and live with us again. The second she gets too old to be able to take care of herself, I am tossing her carcass right into a nursing home. Did you write all of that down? I don't believe this! Just when I thought you couldn't stoop any lower, now you're throwing my mom out onto the curb after all she's done for you? I'd say the balance is pretty strongly in my favor. Actually, she begged us to let her move in with us because she was lonely, so we did. I was also paying about $300 to $400 a month for her living expenses. Out of my own paycheck, of course. Nate never paid anything. And how did she repay me? By helping you cover up your affair. She was fully aware that you were moving in with us with the sole intent to hide your love child from your husband. That's a pretty disgusting lie of omission that could have put me in an incredibly awkward position. And now, come to find out, her plan was ultimately to abandon the child completely and force me to take care of him. That's the kind of thing you only see in bad soap operas, but your mother actually came up with that evil plot. When Nate pushed her on it a while back, she spilled the beans on the whole thing. Do you think I would continue to allow such an amoral, vile person as that to live with me and my child? All she's done for you, all she's done to me, is the reason I'm kicking her out. Now I know where you picked up your evil nature. I guess that makes two traits you both share, evil and stupidity. If only you weren't as dumb as a box of rocks, maybe you might have gotten away with all of that. Don't you mock me like that, you ugly skank! I am gonna get you back for this, Helen. Mark my words, you will regret this. If I may make a bit of a recommendation, what if, instead of dedicating the rest of your life to getting back at me, you spent more time becoming a normal, moral human being? If you had done that sooner, you probably wouldn't have hit the self-destruct button on your life, and right now, you'd be living a happy life with your husband's child instead of... Well, come to think of it, do you even know which boyfriend is the father? Speaking of which, I think your husband might want to talk to you about your escapades while he was away. Good luck! Hope you know a decent lawyer. May's husband dragged her out of the bathroom she had locked herself in shortly after that. They went straight to his lawyer's office, where they reached a settlement for her multiple affairs and were officially divorced. He also sued all the men she slept with, there were a lot of them, and promptly got back to his work overseas. May eventually found out which one of them was the father and went to him for help. She apparently went directly to his parents and told them that she was pregnant with their grandchild and would put him up for adoption if they didn't take her in. Ordinarily, that's the kind of thing that would get you kicked out in an instant, but they were actually thrilled about the prospect of having a grandson. They agreed to pay off her legal debts to her ex-husband, and she moved in with them. May seemed confident she had finally escaped her problems, but then some new ones came into their place. Right after the baby was born, the baby was whisked away by her mother-in-law. She gave her an ultimatum. If she wanted to see her child, she would have to do all the housework and take care of their elderly parents. May then threatened to divorce her new husband, take the baby, and leave, but her in-laws countered with a threat to demand the repayment of the legal bills they paid for her. Checkmate. Her new husband wasn't much of a comfort either. As time went on, he was spending less and less time at home, leaving May completely alone. She calls Nate every once in a while when she wants to complain, but he ignores her calls most of the time now. I don't feel sorry for her at all. After all, this is exactly what she was trying to do to me. As for Nate's mom, she kept on living in the apartment that Nate had rented for us to live in. We're now waiting for the time to come to put her in a nursing home. She tried calling my parents to apologize for what she did and beg them to allow her to live in the duplex again. But when my kill her with kindness strategy worked just a little bit too well, she lost her mind in a fit of rage, ruining any chances at making amends with them. It's just like I told May on that day. She and her mom are two peas in a pod. Now, as for me and Nate, I'm happy to say that Nate finally came to see reason and has become like a brand new man. He gave me and my parents probably the most sincere apology I've ever seen, and promised to be the husband I deserved from now on. He comes by on weekends and days off to spend time with us, and we're starting to build our relationship back up one brick at a time. While I'm doing my best to stay vigilant, I genuinely believe that he's changed. I hope that by the time my stay with my parents ends, we'll be able to be a real family once again.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.